Hello, welcome to episode number 29 of Driftless Knitting. I think it's episode 29. I'm pretty sure. I feel like if it was episode 30, that would have stuck in my brain. So let's just say for now it's episode 29, and if I'm wrong, I will post a correction there at the bottom. I hope it's not episode 30, then I feel like I need to celebrate. It feels like kind of a milestone, so let's hope it's episode 29. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast on Ravelry under the Groups tab if you search for Driftless Knitting. That's kind of where I do a it's kind of an abbreviated version of show notes. I don't do like everything specifically that I talk about, but I do talk about what projects I'm doing and kind of link those up. And if I mention podcasts or anything, I'll link those people as well. So I have like a thread, that's what they're called. I have a thread for every episode, and if you want more information on a project that I talk about or something like that, just go on Ravelry and join the group. Yay! Today is Monday, May 8th, and it's about 3:30 in the afternoon. Which is why I have my afternoon coffee here. And it is a springy day. It's still chilly. It looks super warm outside. It's been sunny all day, but in the shade it's still probably only in the like mid to high 50s, 60-ish, which is warm, but there's a breeze and you still kind of need a jacket. So I tried sitting outside on my deck earlier today, and it didn't last too long. It's just too breezy. You still need a bit of a coat. So I'm still longing for spring. Yesterday was beautiful, and after I was done with work, I went to the lake, one of the lakes in Winona, and I sat by the lake on a bench and I just read for like 2 hours, and it was amazing. And I have a picture of that on my Instagram. It was just gorgeous out there, and everybody, it seemed like, was out riding their bikes and rollerblading and walking. There were people in hammocks just like stretched out between like all the trees and on blankets. I mean, it seemed like everybody was outside enjoying the sun and the warm temperatures. It was still only like 70 degrees, but still, here in Minnesota, 70 degrees is warm. So yeah. But anyway, I'm having a really good day off. Seaver was home, so we got to hang out a little bit, and now he is in lacrosse, taking a test, his very last final, yay. And I thought I'd sneak a podcast in before we go dancing later. It's our very last dance class, which is very sad, but we've had a ton of fun. And tonight we are kind of recapping everything that we've learned, and I think we might be learning an addition onto the waltz. I think that's what we're learning tonight, so I'm very excited. And I'm not wearing anything knitted today because in the hopes that it would be summer-like, I did not put anything knitted on. Although I do have my felted slippers. I have a pair of felted slippers that I made a long time ago. They're on my feet because it's chilly. But I do have on my Stephen and Stephen. This is Stephen West and Stephen Berg, or Stephen B, as everyone knows him, shirt on. This is from their first ever tour that they did together. And on the back, you can see all the names of the yarn shops that they were at. And Yarnology, which is the shop that I work at, is, I believe, number 2 on there. They did come, and they were at our shop and hung out with us for a while. We've had them back one other time. Well, Stephen B is there a lot because he's from the area, and he has his shop up in the Twin Cities. He's actually grew up right across the river from Winona in Wisconsin, and so they have a lot of connections. His mom, most people know her as Mama Krista. Krista has kind of a yarn shop across the river in Ettrick, Wisconsin, and it's like legendary. Her yarn shop is apparently filled to the gills, and she never got rid of anything, so it was just like all of this yarn. You never knew what you were going to find. It could have been like hidden since 1982, but she knows where everything is, apparently. I've never been there, which I'm kind of regretting because I think, I don't know, I'm just guessing it's not going to be open for much longer. I don't know if it even is open right now. Anyway, that's totally not the point, but yeah, so Stephen B has been down to Yarnology a few times, and then Stephen West has come with him twice. He's been to our shop twice. He's lovely. Stephen West is like, you just want to be his best friend. He seems so eccentric, which he is, but he's so soft-spoken and gentle. I mean, is that weird to say? Like, he's just like the most genuine, gentle, kind person. And yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah, I really like Stephen West. Anyway, so yeah, I have this shirt on. I love this shirt. It's nice and cool and comfortable, but still kind of keeps me warm. So that's what I'm wearing today, and drinking my hot coffee and eating a Girl Scout cookie. It's the s'mores one. It's their new one this year. I know Girl Scout cookie season is like long gone, but I bought in bulk, so I still have some left. Not really. I just bought an extra package of these because they were so good. So I'm slowly working my way through it. But yeah, I'm sure you guys want to hear a little bit about knitting, maybe, since this is Driftless Knitting, and that's probably why you came here. So how about I start off with some works in progress. I have two main works in progress that I've been working on this week. Both of them will be fairly familiar to you if you've watched the podcast before. But I have get all of the yarn balls out. This is the restart of my ballpark cowl. And again, if you've watched before, you saw the first try of this, and I switched up some colors and yeah, restarted because I just wasn't happy. But basically, this is going to be a tubular cowl that I will seam when I'm finished with it, and I am keeping track of the Milwaukee Brewers baseball season with different colors. So I'm a huge Milwaukee Brewers fan. Even though I grew up in Illinois, I've been a Milwaukee Brewers fan since I was like 12, I think. My dad has lived in Wisconsin since I was like 7, so I kind of grew up watching them on and off. The Twins too, but that didn't, yeah, I've been to a Twins game, that didn't stick. But when we started watching the Milwaukee Brewers, I think my whole family on my dad's side, we just kind of fell in love with them. So, and now I'm a diehard Ask Seaver. I'm like, I'll come home and I'll be like, they're on the radio. I have to turn the radio on. And yeah, I just love them a lot. So anyway, I'm keeping track of their season. I write down whether or not they won or lost that day, and if it was a home game or an away game. So we started out with home games, this section down here, and the gray is representing a home loss. And I do 3 rows per game. So down here, this was 2 games in a row that we lost. And then the blue is when we win a home game. So we lost 2, we won 1, we lost 1, we won 1, and then we lost 2 again. So that section was really easy and pretty even. And then the next section is the away games that we had. And these were all like April games. I'm not quite caught up yet because I did rip it out and have to start over, or I chose to start over. I am behind a little bit, But this section here, we won quite a bit. So the gold is wins away, like on the road when they're traveling, and the white is losses. So we like won like 4 in a row or something like that, and then we lost 1, we won 2, and then we lost 2. So yeah, so that was really fun. And then I've started the next home stretch right there. So yeah, so it's really fun. It's just stockinette stitch in the round. I can't remember how many I cast on, maybe like 110 or something, just enough to get around, oh, I'm all tangled up. Just enough to get around the 16-inch. I'm knitting this on a size 4, so I have a really great fabric. It's stretchy, but it's not too like open. The yarn that I'm knitting this in is called Kobasi. It's a yarn from Haiku, and it is a combination of cotton, bamboo, and silk, hence the Kobasi. They take the first 2 letters of each element of the yarn and put it together. So it's a fingering weight, and you know, washable, all that stuff. Yeah, really fun. I've only knit one other thing in this. I gravitate towards like wool blends, so I would never, I don't know, this wouldn't be my first choice for a project. But they had the perfect colors for this, and I wanted it to be kind of a lightweight summer knit that I can like take with me anywhere, and yeah, it's just working out really well. So I knit quite a bit on this in the last week. It's pretty impressive. I have my little like scrap of paper that I write down the wins and losses after each night, and I don't know if you can see that. I put like home, away. So April's I'm almost done with. I have to cross off a couple more. I think I've done, whoops, I've done like 2 of the losses there. I have 1 more to go. And then I've started keeping track of May. Obviously we're not too far into the month. I think we won last night, so I have to put that down. And yeah, that way I can just do a bunch of them at a time to catch up, and it's been working out pretty well. So we will watch that grow throughout the summer. It'll be fun. It would be so fun to take it with me to a Brewers game if we go this year and knit on it while I was there in the ballpark. I think that'd be really cool. I'm hoping we get a chance to go again. Okay, so my next work in progress, I've been working on all morning, pretty much, and I am so excited about this. This is in my bag from Mountain State Stitches, and that's Jenny. And she so generously donated this one and another like matching one for my knit along that I did a couple of months ago. And I actually sent the pairing of that to Germany, which is awesome. I hope she got it. I haven't asked Fanny yet if she's gotten that, but I should message her and make sure that that came in the mail. But yeah, it went to Germany, which is amazing, and super, super excited. But that is housing my Find Your Fade. Yay! Look, it's growing! Okay, so that Sucre Sucre miniature progress keeper is where I was last week when I showed this to you. And I even ripped out part of this. So I started the lace. I had finished, let's see, I'd finished the garter stitch section. I think actually it was a little further down. I think I moved it up after I talked to you guys. But I finished the garter stitch section here, and I had started the lace, and I realized I had done like 2 extra repeats of the garter stitch. And I counted, I had too many stitches, but I was hoping that I could just make the lace section work. Which was, yeah. It was hoping way too much, but I'm like, well, if I'm like a couple over, or maybe I can just figure out what the multiplication is and just, yeah, fudge it. And then I tried doing that. I got like 4 rows in, and it would work out one time, and then the next time it wouldn't, and I'd decrease on one side because I had 1 too many stitch, and then the next time around I didn't have enough stitches. It was just, I was sitting there thinking, okay, I can keep increasing, decreasing, adding one, and taking one away, but if I got that whole lace repeat done and looked back and it started becoming like lopsided, I didn't know what further consequences it would have by trying to change it that much. So I just decided to take the needles out. I ripped back the whole lace section, and I ripped back until I had the right number of garter repeats. So I had the right number of stitches, and I could go from there. And yeah, so that's what I did. And then I finished the lace repeat, and I even finished the color melding of the next color. So I am so excited. I was waffling back and forth about, do I keep my original choices for my color sequence? I was having second thoughts about like 3 or 4 of my color choices. And I decided, if I was having second thoughts, if I knit this entire section in a color that I wasn't really sure about, that was going to kind of taint my feelings maybe towards the shawl. I'm sure it would have looked fine, but I just didn't want to take that risk. So I started shopping around a little bit, and I picked out a couple of yarns from Lisa of Three Sisters Fiber Company, who is also my good friend and my coworker, and she lives just outside of Winona, and she has a yarn dyeing company. So she dyed the color that I'm using for my second one, and I've talked quite a bit about this. This is the Boathouses colorway, which was a special limited edition color dyed for the yarn shop that we work at, Yarnology in Winona, Minnesota. And yeah, so this isn't available anymore, but she has some other really amazing colorways, and I went on her shop and kind of started picking some out. And she brought them in on Thursday. And okay, so first I'll tell you the whole saga. And this goes right into new yarn friends, because yeah, I got a couple new yarn friends. The first one that I saw on her website was it's a colorway called Americana, and it was a really subtle denim-y gray color with some like burnt orange and rust in there, and I thought that the rusty colors would look amazing. I mean, they matched completely with the rust and the orange in this skein, and I thought that that was like a dead ringer. I was done, you know, my next color was chosen. So she brought it in, and we looked at it, and we kind of realized that the bluish gray was really gray. It was a cooler, much cooler like blue than the blues that are in here. This is such a warm, rich color combination. And even though there is some blues and teals in there, they're just so, I don't know how to describe it. It just didn't look as good as I had hoped. But I still loved it. So I still took it home with me. So this is Three Sisters Fiber Company in the Americana colorway. And the light, I only have natural light in here today. I should maybe turn a light on to see if it'll, it might be not really showing up the contrast might not be showing up as well. But there is some like bright blues. I mean, you can kind of see, and then it fades into some grays, and then there's some dark orangey reds. See that in the middle there? It just looks like a faded American flag, which I think is the point. And I love it. That, and it reminds me of like a rusty old like Ford or something. You know what I mean? And I love that kind of vintagey, I don't know how to describe it, but I really like it. So I still took this home. This is on her BFL base, which is BFL and nylon. I think it's called the Beautiful. She does the BF and then the L in beautiful. She like capitalized, yeah. It's very punny. So yeah, I still took this home even though it's not going to be in my fade. I mean, it could have worked. In person, this is a lot cooler than this one. They're both kind of getting blown out just a tad bit. But that gray just wasn't going to look quite right. So, it's kind of back to the drawing board. Didn't really know what I was going to do. I got another skein from her too, but I will show that in a second. That wasn't even going to be in my fade. I just loved the color and the name of it. So, yeah. So Lisa texted me, and she had found a skein of yarn that was meant to be boat houses, but just something did not work in the dye pot. And it had a lot more like green, like emerald green, but it still had that orangey rust in there. And she said, I'll bring it into the shop. I was going to over dye it, but I'll bring it in, see if you like it, see if it goes well. And at first I liked how the orange matched perfectly. But everyone just kept saying, oh, that green, I don't know about that green. And so I was kind of on the fence too. Well, and she texted me again, I think on Saturday. And she's like, okay, I found one more. And this, I think, was supposed to be boat houses as well, but it turned out way too light. And so she texted me the picture, and I knew right away that it would be perfect, especially because the color that I have chosen for my fourth color, I would have had to completely choose new ones for like there on out if I'd used the more green color, because my fourth color just wouldn't have worked with that. So, but with this one, the one that I'm actually doing, perfect. So, this was supposed to be boat houses, but it turned out way too light. And it basically only has that like oceany blue and the light orange. The rust color isn't quite as intense in this one. And it has a little bit of like yellowy, like a yellowy look to it when you look closely at the orange parts. But it, I mean, whoops. This one just has more like intense speckles. That darker blue and the, you know, so I think if she would have over-dyed this one with some of these more intense colors, it would have looked exactly the same. It has like the same base colors to it. So they like melted together so perfectly that I had to sometimes look at where my working yarn was coming out of to make sure I was knitting with the right one. But I think there will be a clear difference when I start knitting this one by itself. Because you can see there, you know, it's a little bit lighter in the spots where that new color comes in. So, yeah. So I'm so happy with it, and I can't wait to keep knitting it into the garter stitch and the lace. And then the color that's going to come after this one is this one. And I think because this one has some of those brighter turquoise and there's more of it, it's going to look really, really nice with this one. Like the base colors are almost exactly the same shade of aqua blue. And then off of this, I'm going to try and find something in that really bright aqua blue. So that is still to come. I at least have 4 of my colors, and I need like 3 more, but I don't know. I do have to look through my stash again. I have to remind myself what I was going to do for the 5th one after this. I can't remember. But I'll figure it out, and if not, I will buy more. I shouldn't. I don't buy anything else though besides like food and gas. Like I never go clothes shopping. I hardly ever. I am going on vacation this summer though, so I should save a little bit of money for that. That'd be good. I pay rent I do all those like adulty things that you have to do, even though I don't like them and I'd rather spend all my money on yarn. I kind of like having electricity. I like having the internet so I can upload videos on YouTube. I like to eat, so I guess I need to save my money for those important things. So yeah, that is my Find Your Fade. Obviously the two yarns, the yarn I'm knitting with now and then the yarn before that, were all Three Sisters Fiber Company. The first yarn, that deeper aqua, greeny color, is off of Etsy. I can't remember what her name is, and it's a really hard one to pronounce, so that's why I can never remember it. I'll put it down at the bottom, and she has some beautiful colors. She has a lot of like fandom colors too. She does Lord of the Rings colorways, which is how I found out about her, because my friend Amanda, who used to be my roommate, she found her on Etsy, and I ended up buying a couple of skeins for Amanda's like birthday or Christmas. I think it was her birthday, like 4 years ago. I bought 2 of her Lord of the Rings colorways, and then when I was ordering that, I ordered one for myself because, hey, I'm ordering from overseas, and I might as well buy something for myself. And that color at the bottom is called St. Petersburg, and it was part of her like traveling destinations colorways, and St. Petersburg, Russia. And I really loved the color. I had been reading, well, no, I had read War and Peace. I think I was reading Anna Karenina at the time. Which, yeah, I just had a conversation with somebody about whether or not I preferred Anna Karenina over War and Peace. I definitely don't. I love War and Peace. Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy, if anyone is unfamiliar. But I read War and Peace when I was going into my junior year of college. It took me all summer, and I still didn't really get it done. Oh, my hair's doing weird things. I had to put it on pause and read the things I had to read for school because I was a literature major, so a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and picked it back up again during Christmas break and finished it during Christmas break of my junior year of college. And then the summer after, was it the summer after college or a year after college? After I graduated, I read Anna Karenina. And I think it was when the movie, maybe the movie was going to come out. So that was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember specifically. But anyway, I was kind of thinking, I had like beautiful Russian old cities on the brain, and I saw that color and I loved it and I ordered it, and I knit a pair of socks out of it, and then I had like half a skein left. I still have some left, and I'll probably just wind it up into minis. I'll do a square in my blanket and then maybe ship some out for some people when I do mini swaps. But yeah, so that is the yarn that I'm doing for my Find Your Fade as of now. Did I say that the 4th color was spun right round? I don't know if I did. This is spun right round. I can't remember the colorway name though. And I think I took the ball band out. Yep. Should never do that. Is it in here maybe? This bag by Jenny is so surprisingly roomy. I was carrying around 3 skeins of yarn in here, and my like project that was, I mean, I know it's not anywhere close to being finished, but I mean, it is kind of a good size. I don't know. And I still had room. I could have probably fit a 4th skein of yarn in there. So yeah, amazing. And she has Harry Potter themed bags up right now, which is so tempting it's not even funny. So thanks for that. But yeah, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to save money, and it's underrated. Overrated. It's overrated. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, so speaking of spending money, I bought another skein of Three Sisters yarn. And this I saw on her website, and she only had like one left. And I just couldn't let anyone else own this skein of yarn. I needed it. Oh, you guys. Oh, look at how speckly. Oh my gosh. So pretty. So I love the colors, obviously. I mean that blue. Look at that blue. Amazing. The greens, the little bit of like yellowy, browny, mossy green in there. Incredible. Incredible. I'm so excited. This is on her merino nylon blend called the Authentic Sock. That's the base. And it's 463 yards, and the color name is Bluegrass. So I'm a big bluegrass. Okay, so I grew up on country music. My parents grew up in a really small town in rural Illinois, and even though we're only like an hour 20 minutes outside of Chicago, it's like farmland. It still is primarily. We're starting to be considered like a suburb. We're not a suburb. We have those new like developments coming in, but it's still like this really small town. Like you go 5 minutes outside of town and you're just surrounded by cornfields. So I grew up on country music, like 90s country, kind of older country. My grandfather really loved like Hank Williams and Johnny Cash and, you know, those kind of like old school classic country people. And I still like country music, even though I think it's turning into like pop music with a southern accent. Yeah, don't get me started. Okay, I have to admit, guilty pleasure, I still like some of those songs. But I don't think it's country. I don't think it's like country music, like true country music. So I like pop music too, but I don't call it, you know what I mean? So I'm not afraid to enjoy listening to that stuff. I just don't think it fits in the genre that they want it to fit into. Anyway, that's totally beside the point. But I love bluegrass music. I love the sound of a banjo and a fiddle and love it. My favorite band is a band called Elephant Revival, and they are kind of a modern bluegrass band. They're not like electric or anything, but they don't sound like your traditional like Appalachian Mountains bluegrass music, which I like too, actually. But they came to a festival that we have in Winona called Boats and Bluegrass, and it's held on a it's not really an island. It's called Prairie Island, but it's like it kind of sticks into the river. It's almost like no, it's not really a peninsula either. It's just this outcropping of land. It does connect to more land, but there's like kind of backwater, like Mississippi backwaters on one side and then the river on the other, so it's kind of surrounded by water. So they call it Prairie Island. There's a big campground out there, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and they have a bluegrass festival there every year. And I've been to it twice. It's kind of expensive to get tickets, but once you buy tickets, you can camp out there. It's like a whole weekend pass type thing. So many bands. I mean, there's music playing all day and well into the night, and you can just set up your tent and go in and out of the music area with the different stages, and you can go canoeing on the river. You can go swimming if you want to. You can just hang out at the campsite, and then like we go into town and get lunch or, you know, come back. Yeah. Anyway, so I first saw Elephant Revival probably 3 years ago, and instantly fell in love. I love their music. Their CD Changing Sky, or These Changing Skies is like, it was like my soundtrack for a good year, and I still pop it in. Actually, I listened to it on the way to work yesterday. I just love it so much. And I've seen them one more time when they were in the Twin Cities. Amanda and I went up to see them, and they are just fabulous. They're originally from Colorado, and they travel around a lot. If you get the chance to see them, they're really cool. Anyway, and I like a lot of other bluegrass bands. Yeah. Anyway, you probably all just nodded off in the middle of that rant, but anyway, this is called Bluegrass, and I just couldn't leave it behind. I love it so much. It reminds me of the river. It reminds me of just, that festival is magical. Magical. It's so cool. If you are in the Winona area, if you like traditional and modern bluegrass music, and some other things thrown in there, I mean, they just have some like indie band, I mean, yeah, it's a whole mix of bands. Check out the set list, buy a ticket, come up to beautiful Winona, camp alongside the river, go see music all day and eat amazing food because they have some food trucks in there that are just knock your socks off. Do some canoeing, dip your toes in the Mississippi a bit. You'll thank me. Anyway, this is going to be knit into some very special socks, maybe. I hope. So thank you, Lisa, for dyeing amazing yarn. I think I've said amazing about 18 bazillion times, but I don't care because it's amazing. So that leads me into this weekend is Shepherd's Harvest in Lake Elmo, Minnesota, which is just east of the Twin Cities. And there's a fiber festival up there. I said Shepherd's Harvest, right? Yep, that's what the fiber festival is called. I will be there both Saturday and Sunday. It goes through the weekend. So Friday night there's classes, things like that. There is no like vendors selling anything on Friday night. But Saturday all day, I think 9 to 5. And then Sunday 9 to 3 or 9 to 4. There are 3 big pole sheds, pole barns really, full of vendors, and then there's some outdoor barns that have vendors in them. There's sheep, alpacas, llamas, yaks, apparently this year, sheepdog trials and demonstrations, great food, shearing demonstrations, just all sorts of fibery, wonderful goodness. And I will be there representing 3 sisters. Yay! So if you have been wanting to see some of Lisa's yarn and have been drooling over the delicious, gorgeousness of it, then come to Shepherd's Harvest and you can see it all in person. She'll have some brand new stuff that she's been dyeing over the past couple of weeks, dyeing her fingers off, I think, to try and get some stock up. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to going, not only just to sell Lisa's yarn, but also to do a little bit of perusing and shopping myself. I'm excited as well because a couple of good fibery friends will be there. Carolyn is going up, I guess, on Saturday, and she is a friend that I met through, I think through Yarnology, through a couple different facets, but she's of the Chain 344 podcast. Her and Kate do that podcast, and she's going to come up on Saturday and be there. And then Bumblebee Acres Farm, which I talk about constantly because their yarn is amazing. They are going to be there vending, so you can buy some of their yarn too. And then a lot of other amazing dyers, spinners, just, yeah, there's going to be some really fun things. And if you come up on Saturday, you'll be able to meet Seaver because he's going to come up with me. And the 2 of us are going to be representing Lisa at her booth. She's only able to be there for a couple of hours in the morning, and then she has to go. She has a family conflict. So we'll be taking over and we'll be in her booth for the rest of the day. And then on Sunday, Lisa and I will both be there. So you'll be able to actually meet Lisa if you come on Sunday. So yeah, look that up. It's a great time. Hopefully the weather stays nice. It could have a little chill in the air, so we can wear maybe a pretty wool shawl or something, but I'm really hoping that it's not freezing. There's been a couple of years where it was just absolutely frigid. Oh my gosh, in May, like, I think, was it last year or the year before? It started snowing, like, randomly. Like, we were outside, the sun went away. I mean, it was cold all day, but the sun was at least out. The sun went away, and it started snowing and hailing, like little hail, not like dangerous hail. It was the weirdest thing. It was so strange. Anyway, I'm really crossing my fingers that it stays decently warm, so that we can all spend some good time outside with some sheep and some yarn, and yeah, just have fun. So come up, check that out. Other than that, I will be working the rest of this week. I work Tuesday through Friday, then I'll go up to the festival Saturday, Sunday, and yeah, I'll just be knitting and watching podcasts probably. I just caught up with the Grocery Girls. I watched their latest episode, and at first I was quite forlorn about what to do with myself once I caught up with the Grocery Girls, because they have kept me company over the last several months. Whenever I'd get home and get some work done, I'd want to sit down and relax, and I'd turn a podcast on, and they were always there, and they're just lovely and hilarious. Oh my gosh, so funny. But anyway, so I was a little bit worried about what would occupy me while I was knitting, because regular TV is just so blasé now. I have to watch about knitting constantly. I swear, I'm an addict. Sometimes I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, I used to watch that TV show, I used to watch that one. I haven't seen a movie in ages, because all I do is watch knitting podcasts when I have the chance. Anyway, so I had heard about this other podcaster, I think back in March. When is the Edinburgh Yarn Festival? It's in like early spring, I think. But I was watching Inside 23, Katie of Inside 23. I was watching her podcast, and she was hanging out with all these podcasters, and I kind of looked them all up, because I'm always, looking for new podcasts to watch, because inevitably the one that you're binging on will end, and there will be a week where nobody uploads anything, and then what do you do? So I had to find a new one, and they all looked wonderful, but one that really caught my attention was Grace of Babbler's Traveling Yarns, I think. I always want to say Babbling Travel Yarns or something, but it's Babbler Traveling Yarns. I think I got that right. So I just started watching her yesterday, and I've watched the first 2 episodes, and she is from Ireland. She is super quirky and lovely, and I don't know, it just struck me from the start, from the very first podcast episode, that she is someone I could see myself being very good friends with. And she sometimes will just like break into this weird voice and just be kind of like, just make this face or something. And that's something, I don't do it so often on the podcast because I try to be a little professional, but sometimes like Stever and I will just talk to each other in like these crazy voices. Like we'll just like break into this super weird accent, and I don't know, we're just crazy. So it just reminded me of something I would do, and I don't know, she just, like, I could just see myself just being super giddy and crazy and just totally goofy with her, and yeah, so I feel like if we actually met in real life, we would just totally hit it off. And, okay, I'm American, so I love listening to people with cool accents. I know that you people from other countries, I know that people from other countries, of course, I have an accent, I have an American accent, but to me, I don't hear it, I just talk normally, so when I hear someone with, from another country with an accent, it's just fascinating to me. I'm such an American, but I love listening to her talk. I love her Irish accent, and even though she said it has mellowed out a little bit since she was living in England for a little while, it's just, yeah, it's so fun. And then hearing all about her travels, hearing about, she's so courageous to have gone traveling by herself. And I know she does more traveling. I'm obviously catching up on her podcast, so I don't exactly know. Well, I think she's living back in Ireland now because I follow her on Instagram. But anyway, I did a wee bit of stalking, a little bit. But that's what Instagram's for, right? I liked a bunch of her pictures because they were of the Irish countryside, and she had one of cows, Irish cattle. I have to like that because anyone who's watched this before, I love cows. So yeah, I've just been really enjoying getting to know her, and yeah. I was thinking, my sister is planning another trip to Ireland. She's been there twice and loves it. She actually is a bit of an Irish scholar in a sense. She's done a ton of research. She actually studied quite a lot. She was a history major and has her degree in history, has a master's in library science. And a lot of her research for her theses and all these other things were on Irish history. A lot about mythology, tons on that. Her son's name is Ronan, which is Irish for little seal. Yeah, she's just totally immersed. And we're not even Irish. What's that about, Jill? No, I'm just kidding. She gets flack from my grandma all the time, from my Oma. But why can't you be this interested in Germany? I think I'm very interested in Germany, and my sister's very interested in Ireland, so I keep telling my Oma, I'm like, what about me? Yeah, I don't count, apparently. I'm just kidding. I love you, Oma, if you're watching this. Sometimes her and my dad will watch these, so hopefully I didn't offend her. Anyway, so Jill is planning a trip, her and her husband, and they'll take Ronan with them for 2019, and they're already planning everything, and part of me is like, oh, I could go with. I could, do some wool shopping and meet up with all these cool UK and Irish podcasters, and yeah, that's not going to happen, but it was a thought in my mind. Anyway, so yes, Grace of Babbler Traveling Yarns, I still don't think I got that right, is wonderful, and I'm really going to enjoy watching her podcast, so go check her out if you haven't seen it yet or heard of her. You probably have, but I was a little late to the party. Yeah, super fun. All right, everybody, I think that just about does it for me. I'm going to go probably do some more knitting. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you get some time to do some fibery related crafting or anything else that really makes your heart happy. I've been doing a little more reading lately, and I can't tell you how much I love it. It feels so good to be getting back to reading and taking the time to sit down with a book. So yeah, if that's what makes you happy, do that. If crochet makes you happy, do that. If knitting, knitting makes everybody happy, right? So thank you so much for watching. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. I can't wait to see you again. And if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. I would love it if you subscribed to my channel and liked my video. Give it a big thumbs up. So thank you all so much, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye!